All right, guys. So I'm going to show you how to get to IO Items. And I know I'm in Aries, but there's actually integration model that you can just click into Aries and go right to IO Items. On the bottom left-hand side, you see the icon, the little butterfly that says IO Education Assessments. Go ahead and click on that, and it's going to take you right to the Items dashboard or the IO dashboard. Some of us may have a Create Test tile that's already made. You'll see it right there. But if you don't, on the left-hand side, you will see testing. Go ahead and click on that, and on the drop down, you're going to select Create Test. What you see here is the dashboard on what you're going to begin with to create your test. We are going to create a math test, and I'm going to choose 8th grade as my example, but I'm going to talk to you briefly about what this means up here when I'm doing district, site, and teacher. It's exactly how it sounds. A district test or benchmark will be shared with everyone in the district. A site test will only be shared with the people at my school site. And a teacher test will only be shared with me unless I choose another teacher to share it with. I'm going to select teacher test because I want to just show you an example and I don't want anyone else to see it. Standards, I have many different types of standards I can choose from. I'm obviously going to choose Common Core, but they do have NGSS standards that are in here. So I'm going to select Common Core. Again, my grade level that I'm going to focus on is 8th grade. Test name, I'm just going to select example here, but obviously if you're doing a type of standard, I would probably put the standard in there next to the test name. And all you need to do is you need to copy, and I would just paste that into the short name. You can have the short name be anything you want. I'm just doing this for just for the training. I'm going to explain this real quick. You have 3 different options that you can use when it comes to giving this test. You can do an online and print. That means that whatever you create, you can also print it or you can give this test online. This option will limit the amount of questions you get to see. For instance, there are some really nice questions in this IO assessments that manipulate the Common Core assessment exactly. For instance, drag and drop, ordering, highlighting questions, graphing, table matching, real questions that kids will see on the actual Common Core test. If you pick online and print, it won't show them all those extra features. If you go to online only, every type of question is included. And then print only, you cannot give this test online at all. You can only print it out, and you don't even have the option of giving it online. So I would choose for this example online only, just so you have an idea of what type of questions can be asked. So then I'm going to click on Create Test from Item Bank, and this will take me to the filtering option so I can get the exact questions that I'm looking for. So here are the filtering options. For instance, we see that we have all the item banks selected. I believe there's 40,000+ different items that we have in our IO assessments right now. Standard set, I'm going to remain with Common Core state standards. We know that we're focusing on math. I know that I want this test for my 8th grade. Group, I'm going to leave with any, but again, I can choose a specific group if I wanted to. Standard, I am going to select a specific standard that I want to assess. So, for instance, if I was looking at MA period 8, period EE, period A, period 2, if I choose this particular standard, on the right-hand side, it tells me exactly how many items I have. So in this particular standard, I have 93 items that I can choose from. So I'm going to just make sure I choose this one, just to show you guys how this works. Item type is the question type that I can ask. So I can really get down to the nitty-gritty. If I'm looking for constructed responses where I want my students to type out an answer, I can choose those type of questions. I can have a multiple select type question if that's what the standard calls for. I can do a highlightable type text. This is probably more appropriate for ELA standards, but again, there might be some math questions out there. For this particular example, I'm going to keep it on any so I can see every type of question. I can choose a particular claim. Obviously, we know with math there are 4 claims, so I can choose the claim that I want to focus on. In this case, I'm just going to leave it at any. But what's nice about this too is that I can start looking at depth of knowledge. And the reason why I like this feature a lot is because I, as a teacher, probably have not been trained on how to create a level 4, 3, 2, or 1 type of question. And I don't really like creating my own questions. So I'd rather choose from an item bank, and if I want a level 2, I know where to go. So I'm just showing you this. If you are looking for a specific type of level, you can choose that as well by going in the filter. I'm going to leave everything at any because I'm going to show you how you can kind of browse through and select what you want. Right here, you have show items and questions. You're going to select that, and it's going to show you all the type of questions that are in this particular standard. So I believe there was 93 that we talked about, so all 93 are going to show up. However, I can start going through this whole assessment and start choosing ones that I like. We do have some Spanish in here, so obviously you're going to see some Spanish questions. But here's a nice example of a level 2 question, basic skills and concept, and it's going to ask the students what they want. What I like about this is that it tells you the correct answer, but if you click on show rationale, it tells you why your students may be selecting the wrong answer. And it tells the instructor what they could really focus on when their students select the wrong one, to do a quick intervention with their students. Hey, you're probably thinking this, or you probably did this step instead of doing this one. It's a nice little feature that I think helps our teachers a lot. On the left-hand side over here, if I like this question, I can select it, and I can keep browsing around to see if I like other questions. This one looks good. Again, I can look up here. I see the DOK level that I am working with. I'll scroll down some more just to show you, oh wow, that one was good. The reason why I like this one, select all possible answers, and that's something that our students see on a test. Again though, very simple DOK, just a recall, but I'm going to have it in there anyways. I'll select one more, and maybe a couple more, see if I can find another cool one. Okay, this is good enough. So if I like all these questions, what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll up to the top, and I'm going to click on this green box that says add all checked questions. So I'm going to select that. And now it's going to show me the select questions that I have on the left-hand side. I chose 5 items. I'm going to assume that I like those items. So I'm going to actually go on to the next step on the top right where it says go to step 2. Here's a preview of my test. Again, just for the example, I just went with whatever I saw, but there are many different types of questions I could have chosen from. So let's say I like this test. I'm going to save and finish. And now I'm going to be shown this option, which is your manage test screen. The way that this test gets administered is that you have to create a testing window. This is if you're going to give it online. So because I am going to give this test online, I'm going to administer this test by giving it a window. I'm going to select test or schedule test. I'm just going to put test 1 here, and I'm just going to pick a random window just to show you how this kind of looks. I have my option. I'm going to do online only here. The student portal options, this is when your parents want to sign in and they want to see the testing results by looking at the test. So I'm going to turn that on because that's actually a really cool feature for the parents to see how their kids did on a test, and they get to see what questions they miss as well. So you have the option of show scores, responses, and test questions, only if you really want them. But again, they get to see their kids' test results. And I can pick a date when it's available on the student portal. So again, this is the last date of my testing window, just to show you that it doesn't show it earlier than that. Everything else is pretty much default. So I'm just going to make sure that I can go in here and I'm going to save it. What's nice about this, if there was any errors that I had in the particular window, I can go back in here and hit edit and make any change that I want. To show this test online, I'm going to preview this online test just to show you what it looks like. So I'll begin the test, and here's what the test items look like. Again, because I made this test online, there are some features in here that you would not be able to do with a paper test. The nice part about this, again, any change that I want to make, I go to edit and I can do that. So that's how you create a test. Pretty simple.